They demanded we all be here, as many of us as possible. This was the single largest ship gathering in galactic history, and it was all due to the humans demanding we be here. Nobody refused. After all, humanity and its stupid gun obsession had all of us too terrified to ever say no. We had begun to fear them more than anything else, but thankfully they were benevolent and let us do our own thing. It didn't mean we weren't terrified of them. When they commanded us to jump, we asked how high. I am no longer surprised. My colleagues are crying, sobbing, squealing, and sweating at the sight of humanity's military might on display. Thousands of massive warships swarming the local star. It was a thing known as a neutron star. One of the galaxy's most dangerous and rare sights, this thing was on the edge of human space. The galactic fleet sat in contemplative silence. 20,000 ships from every race in the known galaxy all gathered at the edge of the system, too scared to get close. "Why did they call us here? This is terrifying," one ambassador behind me said. "I have no idea, but they have giant guns and a neutron star. I can't say I'm not scared," I replied calmly. At that moment, our answer arrived. A fleet of new ships, ones we had never seen before, suddenly appeared in the system. We all gasped in shock at the sight. It was a full fleet of council ships, one from each race. They were all of a similar hull design, a large vertical star-like ship with a centrally mounted giant gun, simply painted or decorated in the color of its representative member. The surrounding warships dwarfed them, of course, but these ones were very much out of place. All 33 of them slowly made their way towards the star. We sat awestruck as they each surrounded the star in close proximity, in a perfect pattern surrounding the star. It was amazing how the ships were still functioning, being so close to such a dangerous entity. They began a perfectly synchronized dance around the star, each one trying to perfectly jockey for position on the star's volatile and constantly shifting surface. I began to cry as I watched the dance unfold before me. We had dreamed of this for millennia, been given plans and instructions from our gods for centuries to perform this ritual, but had never acquired the tech or resources to do it. I dropped to my knees and sobbed as I recognized one of the giant guns mounted on the ship. Quantum wave cannons. We had made countless abstract designs of it over the centuries, but had never had the reason or strength to ever deploy them. I was half ecstatic with glee, half disappointed. In between sobs of happiness and frustration, I blurted out racial slurs and swear words. Why did it have to be giant guns? Why the giant guns? The cannons began their firing sequence as the dance around the star accelerated to ridiculous speeds. Each ship perfectly synchronized with a gravity tether to its fellows, maintaining a perfect distance between it and the star. Others around me started to ask why I was so distressed, trying to find out what was going on as every Serenian in the assembled fleet dropped to their knees in prayer. The weapons began to fire, blasts of blindingly beautiful light emitting from each ship in perfect synchronization. The microsecond the beams hit the star, it destabilizes, and the surface starts to bubble as if it were boiling. The star warped and twisted, bending its surface into a million different warped shapes in seconds as the beam cannons forced it to remain in a shield. The ships moved towards the star, converging ever closer and closer to each other. They got close enough, combining each other's hulls into a singular shell to surround the star. A blinding flash of light erupted, and in the blink of an eye, the entire star system vanished, replaced by a rapidly expanding portal into paradise. The vision through the bubble now present in the star system is that of a giant galaxy-sized tree, a garden of paradise. I looked through it, seeing the faces of our gods on leaves and branches. The entirety of the human fleet surrounding it vanished in a microsecond. "All engines full! Forward to glory!" I commanded, shouting to the crew to charge forward. The bubble stopped expanding as it hit the edge of the star system. The planet on its bare edge began to disintegrate in a brilliantly beautiful display of destruction as it tore itself apart piece by piece, vanishing into the bubble. I felt my entire being warp and twist. A brilliant feeling of calm and ecstasy overwhelmed me as we all entered paradise together. Humanity and its obsession with giant guns had caused the entire galaxy to ascend to godhood. So this one is, galaxy number, what now? 29? A human called Martin said, peering from his office desk. Yeah, 29. This one was a lot easier than the one before that. Holy crap, that galaxy was a pain. A human called Jessica said as she typed away at her computer screen. Did we have to do the Grand again? Or hell, even the MG-42? Did we really? Martin asked. You can't go wrong with the classics, man. You gotta admit that alien that was there, his responses were hilarious. Jessica replied with a chuckle. Oh yeah. The time he was there to witness the wave motion gun thing, that was hilarious. And the way his skin turned like Snow White that time. The group laughed. Yeah. That reminds me, did we send a gift basket to the Devourer? I can't remember, Jessica asked. We did. We gave him some new followers in a new galaxy and he was okay with it, Martin said. A third human, Paul, stood from his desk and pressed buttons on a remote. The background around them changed to the sight of a galaxy, then another, flipping between various galaxy sizes and shapes. So shall we try a supermassive this time? Hardcore mode, or do we want to try an easy one? Wheel. I don't know. What if we... The conversation interrupted as a new desk formed in the room. Atoms combined into other atoms, forming a desk. Matter swirled around as a computer materialized on top of it. A chair assembled itself. And there on top of the chair, a Serenian popped into existence. Hey! He's that guy who was always there to document the giant guns! A human called Jackson said. Yes, human! I bellowed as my new computer started up. So, what are you doing here? Paul asked. I asked the gods about your obsession with giant guns. I asked them what you really were, what was really going on. When I was told you had effectively ascended to the point of deliberately creating new galaxies to do this nonsense, I wanted a part of it, I said, and started typing on my computer screen. Oh, I get it, Jessica said. So you decided to work here? Let me get this straight. You had an option of an infinite paradise of no fear or favor, and you chose instead to work as an engineer that creates universes? She asked, genuinely puzzled. Oh, no. Well, yes, but no. I want to start a new galaxy again, this time. I challenge you to do it without the giant guns, I said, chuckling sadistically as I typed the design for the new galaxy. That's a challenge, Paul said as he looked at the new design I worked on. Oh, can we do this one with a galaxy populated only by subspecies of cats and dogs? Martin asked with excitement. Only the cute ones, I said, and finalized the design. Well, here we go again. I love this job, Paul said with glee as he sat back in his seat. Do humans have to be the only ones doing all the work? I asked, peering over at Martin. No, it's just easier. We're kind of overpowered in the late game stage. It just means we get better turnaround at the end of the day, Paul replied as he started typing. So, from what I can tell here, you just input parameters and then the galaxy just does its own thing by itself? This is a strange interface, I said, trying to look around. Yeah, we can interfere as much or as little as we want, but it's more fun to just watch them flail around and question the universe sometimes, Jessica said with an evil smirk. Like it was with me, I looked at her with a death stare. Yes. They all said together and burst out laughing. So, the giant guns are just giant guns. We liked the idea. It was hilarious, Paul said as he sat back down on his chair. We do, however, build the Garand nearly every time. There's just something about that sexy ping, Jessica said with a smirk. And the giant Doge planet? I asked, referring to the time the humans morphed an entire world into a giant doggo. A happy accident. We put that doggo in a more reasonable position, and he's living life comfortably now. We're not completely irresponsible after all. It's why this job exists. Someone has to have the delete key handy. Martin smirked at me from behind his desk. We learned pretty fast after the first few galaxies we built that humans were a biite, overpowered. So we have to have this job in place so they don't obliterate everything out of anger. Again, Jessica stated and resumed typing. So does that mean we are excluding them this time? I asked. Well, we can, but not this time. A galaxy full of floof, and you think we aren't going to be in it? Now that's insane, Paul replied. Fair point, I said, and finalized some details before hitting the start button. The entire galaxy, the Milky Way, once again swirled into view. The cycle started anew.